Love has the power to lift you up or completely unravel you. But smart women don't leave their hearts to chance. They love consciously, guided by timeless psychological wisdom. Carl Jung, the legendary psychoanalyst, uncovered profound truths about love, self-discovery, and the delicate balance between devotion and independence. If you've ever lost yourself in love or wondered how to love deeply without sacrificing your identity, these 5 rules will change the way you approach relationships forever. Love is one of life's greatest mysteries, a force that can inspire growth or trigger our deepest fears. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, believed that relationships are more than just emotional bonds. They're mirrors reflecting our unconscious desires, wounds, and potential. For women who value both love and self-awareness, Jung's teachings reveal how to navigate romance without losing sight of who you are. His principles go beyond surface-level advice, diving into the psychology of attachment, projection, and the journey toward wholeness. In this video, we'll explore 5 powerful rules smart women follow when they love someone, rules rooted in Jung's insights on the human psyche. These aren't about playing games or suppressing emotions, they're about loving wisely, with eyes wide open. If you're ready to transform your relationships while staying true to yourself, let's begin. Rule number 1. Love without losing your identity. Love has a way of blurring the lines between you and we. In the intoxicating early stages of a relationship, it's easy to let your own interests fade into the background as you prioritize your partner's world. But according to Carl Jung, true love should never require self-abandonment. In fact, the healthiest relationships are those where both individuals continue to grow, not just as a couple, but as whole, independent beings. This is the essence of Jung's concept of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself, even within love. Jung warned against the dangers of psychological fusion, when 2 people merge so completely that they lose their distinct identities. This often happens when love is mistaken for possession, or when the fear of loneliness outweighs the need for selfhood. Smart women understand that losing themselves in a relationship doesn't make the love deeper, it only makes it more fragile. A love built on completeness, not lack, is what endures. When you sacrifice your identity for a relationship, you don't just lose hobbies or preferences, you risk eroding your sense of self. Jung believed that unresolved parts of our psyche, the shadow self, often surface in relationships where boundaries are weak. You might start resenting your partner for choices you agreed to, or feel empty when alone because you've neglected your inner life. Worse, relationships built on dependency often attract partners who prefer you small, those who love the idea of you more than the real, multifaceted you. Rule number 2, recognize projections. The moment we fall in love, something mysterious happens. We start seeing not just who our partner truly is, but who we desperately need them to be. Carl Jung called this psychological phenomenon projection, where we unconsciously attribute our own unacknowledged qualities, desires, and fears onto our partner. It's as if we paint them with colors from our own inner palette, creating an image that often has little to do with their authentic self. Smart women understand this treacherous terrain of the heart. They know that until we recognize our projections, we're not really loving a person, we're loving our own reflection, our own unmet needs masquerading as romance. Projections explain why the same qualities that seem enchanting early in a relationship often become unbearable later. That confident man who initially seemed so strong and decisive might later strike you as controlling and rigid. The free-spirited artist who captivated you with his spontaneity might eventually frustrate you with his unreliability. Jung would say this shift isn't necessarily about your partner changing, it's about your projections changing. What we adore in the beginning often represents disowned parts of ourselves that we yearn to reclaim. The traits that later annoy us are frequently mirrors of what we refuse to acknowledge within. The most dangerous projection of all is what Jung called the animus projection, when a woman attributes all her unconscious masculine qualities onto her partner. This explains why some brilliant, capable women suddenly play dumb around men they're attracted to, or why independent women find themselves waiting helplessly for a man to complete them. The animus projection creates a painful paradox. The more we idealize a partner as our other half, the more we diminish ourselves. Smart women catch themselves in this trap. They notice when they're giving away their power, when they're expecting their partner to embody qualities they actually possess themselves. So how do we distinguish between who our partner truly is and who we've imagined them to be? The first clue is intensity. If your feelings have a desperate, faded quality, "He's my soulmate," or "I've never felt this way before," that's often the mark of projection at work. Real connection grows gradually, while projections hit like lightning. Another sign is when you find yourself making excuses for behavior that would normally concern you. "He's just busy," when he consistently ignores you, or "he's passionate," when he's actually volatile. These rationalizations reveal the gap between reality and your projected ideal. Breaking free from projections requires courageous self-honesty. It means asking, what if the qualities I admire most in him are actually undeveloped aspects of myself? Or, is this frustration with him really frustration with myself? This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about reclaiming your wholeness. When a smart woman realizes she's projecting, she doesn't shame herself. She gets curious. She uses the relationship as a mirror to better understand her own psyche. She asks, what does this attraction reveal about my unmet needs? Or, what does this irritation teach me about my own shadows? The reward for this psychological work is enormous. As we withdraw our projections, we begin to see our partners and ourselves with startling clarity. Relationships become less about desperate completion and more about conscious choice. We stop demanding that our partners play roles in our personal dramas and start appreciating them as real, flawed, beautifully human beings. And most importantly, we reclaim the disowned parts of ourselves that we've been trying to find in others all along. This is how projection, when understood, transforms from a source of delusion into a path of profound self-discovery. Rule number 3, embrace the shadow. Every relationship eventually holds up a mirror to our hidden selves, the parts we'd rather not acknowledge, the raw edges we've spent years trying to smooth over. Carl Jung called this our shadow, the repository of all the traits, impulses, and vulnerabilities we've disowned or denied. In love, these shadows don't disappear. They emerge with startling clarity, often through our strongest emotional reactions. When someone triggers an outsized response in us, whether it's overwhelming anger, crushing insecurity, or obsessive jealousy, we're not just reacting to them. We're confronting the unexamined fragments of our own psyche that we've exiled from conscious awareness. Smart women understand this alchemy of emotion. They know that the conflicts that arise in relationships aren't just obstacles to overcome, but sacred opportunities to meet themselves more fully. Consider how easily we blame our partners for our emotional turmoil. "He made me so angry when he forgot our plans," or "She made me feel worthless when she criticized me." But Jung would argue that no one can make us feel anything we don't already carry within. Those explosive reactions are like psychic alarms, signaling where our unhealed wounds and unintegrated shadows live. The partner who triggers your jealousy isn't creating that feeling. They're revealing where you secretly doubt your own worth. The lover whose aloofness sends you into panic isn't causing your anxiety. They're mirroring your deepest fear of abandonment. This isn't to excuse poor behavior, but to recognize that our strongest emotional responses in relationships are never just about the other person. They're about the relationship we have with ourselves. The shadow doesn't just contain our wounds, it also holds our disowned power. Many women have been conditioned to suppress qualities like assertiveness, ambition, or sexual confidence, labeling them as unfeminine or too much. When we encounter these traits in others, they may provoke admiration or resentment, both signs of projection. The colleague who speaks up without apology, the friend who unapologetically pursues her desires, They fascinate us because they embody what we've been taught to repress. Smart women notice these reactions and ask, what if what bothers me about her is actually what I need to embrace about myself? Or, what if my admiration for his confidence reflects my own untapped potential? Doing shadow work in relationships requires turning toward what makes us most uncomfortable. When you feel that familiar surge of irritation when your partner interrupts you, instead of immediately reacting, pause and inquire, why does this bother me so much? Does it remind me of something from my past? Or does it reflect a way I silence myself? When jealousy arises, instead of accusing your partner, get curious, what insecurity is this touching in me? What story am I telling myself about my worth? This isn't about self-blame, but about reclaiming agency over your emotional world. Practical shadow work might look like keeping a journal to track emotional triggers, noting what specific behaviors set you off and what underlying fears or memories they activate. Therapy can provide a safe container to explore these patterns more deeply. Even simple mindfulness, observing your reactions without immediately acting on them, creates space between stimulus and response. Over time, this practice transforms conflicts from threats into teachers. The partner who once seemed perfectly matched because they never challenged you might come to feel stifling, while the one who occasionally triggers you might become the more compelling choice. Not because the relationship is harder, but because it's more honest. The paradox of shadow work is that by embracing what we've tried to disown, we become more whole, and our relationships more authentic. We stop demanding that our partners tiptoe around our unhealed wounds and start taking responsibility for our own emotional landscapes. The qualities we once found intolerable in others begin to soften as we make peace with them in ourselves. And perhaps most beautifully, as we integrate our shadows, we develop more compassion, both for ourselves and for the imperfect, growing humans who love us. This is how love becomes not just a feeling, but a path of awakening, one where every conflict, every trigger, every moment of discomfort becomes an invitation to meet more of ourselves. Rule number 4, choose partners who challenge you. In the alchemy of love, comfort can become the most dangerous illusion. Carl Jung understood that relationships serve a higher purpose than mere companionship. They are crucibles for transformation, mirrors that reveal our hidden potentials and unexamined limitations. The healthiest partnerships aren't those that make us feel perfectly secure and unchallenged, but those that inspire us to evolve beyond who we were when we first met. Smart women recognize this profound truth. They understand that while validation feels good in the moment, it's the loving challenge that helps us grow into our fullest selves over time. Jung's concept of archetypes reveals why certain relationships feel faded or particularly transformative. When we encounter someone who embodies qualities we need to develop, whether it's courage, creativity, or emotional availability, it often creates an almost magnetic attraction. This isn't coincidence, but psyche's intelligent way of guiding us toward wholeness. The partner who gently pushes you to voice your needs is helping you develop your assertiveness. The lover who models healthy boundaries teaches you to honor your own. These relationships may not always feel comfortable, but they serve as living invitations to become more complete human beings. Many women fall into the trap of seeking partners who make them feel good without making them grow. The charming narcissist who showers you with admiration but never engages your mind. The conflict-avoidant partner who keeps the peace but never challenges your perspectives. These relationships often feel easy in the beginning but lead to stagnation over time. Jung would say they fail the test of true intimacy, the willingness to see and be seen in your entirety, not just your most agreeable aspects. A partner who only validates you is like a gardener who only waters the plant but never prunes it. The result may appear lush initially, but lacks the structure for long-term flourishing. From a Jungian perspective, red flags often appear as relationships that promise security at the expense of authenticity. The partner who insists they complete you rather than complement you, the lover who discourages your separate friendships or interests, the person who reacts with defensiveness rather than curiosity when you express needs. These are all signs of a connection that may feel intense but ultimately inhibits growth. Green flags, conversely, appear in relationships where there's space for both individuals to change. The partner who can sit with your discomfort rather than rushing to fix it, the lover who celebrates your successes without making them about themselves, the person who engages in conflict with respect rather than avoidance. These are marks of a relationship that nurtures evolution. The most transformative partners often come in unexpected packages. They might not check every box on your superficial checklist, but they possess the uncanny ability to reflect back your blind spots while believing in your potential. They create an environment where growth feels possible rather than punitive. When you're with them, you don't feel like you need to be perfect. You feel like you're allowed to become. This is the sacred paradox of Jung's view on relationships. The partner who challenges us appropriately is ultimately the one who makes us feel most at home, not in who we were when we met them, but in who we're becoming through knowing them. Choosing such a partner requires courage, the willingness to trade some immediate comfort for long-term expansion. It means looking beyond surface chemistry to discern whether someone has the emotional maturity to handle your growth and their own. Most importantly, it demands that we become people who can tolerate being challenged as well as we tolerate being cherished. When two people commit to this path together, love transforms from a static state into a living journey, one where each partner serves as both witness and ally in the other's ongoing becoming. This is how relationships transcend the personal and touch the archetypal. How ordinary love stories become myths of mutual awakening. Rule number 5. Love as a path to wholeness. The most profound relationships are never just about two people finding each other. They're about each person rediscovering themselves through the reflection of loving eyes. Carl Jung envisioned love as a sacred alchemical process where two individuals don't so much complete each other as they help each other become more fully themselves. This radical perspective turns romantic conventions upside down. The goal isn't to merge into one, but to remain distinctly yourself while growing alongside another. Smart women understand this distinction instinctively. They know the difference between needing someone and choosing someone, between clinging and connecting, between love that diminishes and love that magnifies. Modern romance often glorifies dependency as proof of devotion, the idea that true love means being unable to imagine life without the other person. But Jung would recognize this as spiritual immaturity, confusing attachment for love. Healthy relationships don't require you to abandon your autonomy any more than a tree needs to uproot itself to appreciate the sun. The partner who insists you need them is often the one most threatened by your wholeness. In contrast, the partner who celebrates your independence while offering steadfast support is helping write a different story, one where love becomes the soil in which you both grow taller, not the ivy that slowly covers over who you truly are. This path to wholeness requires conscious navigation. It means catching yourself when you start outsourcing your happiness or self-worth to your partner's attention. It looks like maintaining your own friendships, interests, and inner life even as you build something beautiful together. It sounds like saying, "I choose you," rather than, "I need you." When conflicts arise, as they inevitably do, the question shifts from, "How can we get back to how we were?" to, "What is this moment trying to teach us about ourselves?" This subtle but profound reorientation transforms relationships from emotional safety nets into living laboratories for soul work. The healthiest relationships exhibit a beautiful paradox. The more secure each partner feels in their own wholeness, the more deeply they can connect without fear. There's space for both intimacy and individuality, for both togetherness and solitude. Arguments become less about winning and more about understanding. Time apart isn't threatening but nourishing. Each person serves as both anchor and sail, grounding the other while encouraging their journey. This is how love transcends the personal and touches the sacred, not by promising to complete us, but by reminding us we were never incomplete to begin with. As we come full circle to Jung's wisdom, we arrive at the most liberating truth of all. The greatest gift you can bring to love isn't your need, but your wholeness. Not your emptiness seeking filling, but your fullness ready to share. When two people approach each other this way, love stops being about possession and becomes what it was always meant to be, a sacred mirror showing us our beauty, our shadows, and our boundless potential all at once. This is the love that doesn't just make us happy, but makes us whole. And in the end, that may be the most revolutionary rule of all. As we reach the end of this exploration of Carl Jung's relationship wisdom, let's pause to revisit these 5 transformative rules that smart women apply in love. First, maintaining your identity amidst the beautiful chaos of connection. Second, recognizing when you're projecting your inner world onto your partner. Third, embracing your shadows as gateways to growth. Fourth, choosing partners who inspire your evolution rather than just your affection. And finally, understanding that true love leads to wholeness, not dependency. Together, these principles form a roadmap for relationships that don't just feel good, but help you become your best self. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these rules struck the deepest chord? Was it the revelation about projections, or perhaps the liberating idea of love as a path to wholeness? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your personal insights might help another viewer on their journey. If this video resonated with you, consider liking and subscribing for more psychology-based content that explores the hidden depths of relationships, self-discovery, and personal growth. After all, as Jung reminds us, the most important relationship we'll ever have is the one with ourselves. Everything else flows from there. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating terrain of your inner world, and remember, the smartest love is the kind that helps you grow while never asking you to shrink. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video as we continue uncovering psychological wisdom for living and loving more consciously.